Hi everyone, welcome to our channel, Rebecca Stu and the crew. I'm Rebecca and today is the day we do our DIY videos, plus we have a new product review. So let's go over our supplies for the video. We're going to be making something with these two DIY wood giraffes and a large wood plank, two of these building blocks. Also, we're going to use these rub-on transfers. They're new at the Dollar Tree, or you could use tissue paper if you don't have the transfers, and some Mod Podge with a sponge brush. We're also going to use some paint. I chose to use the mineral color paint by Waverly and dark blue. We're also going to use some gel stain. I picked this up at Dollar Tree last year, but you could also find it at other stores. We'll need some paint brushes and a sponge brush. Also, we'll need some gloves to protect your hands, some scissors, and a craft stick to rub the transfers with, some ribbon, which is optional, and then some hot glue. So let's get crafty. So the first thing we're going to do is take these two 3D DIY giraffes that they sell. They sell a bunch of other animals too. They have like giraffes, rhinoceros, they have dinosaurs. There's quite a few different ones. And what we're going to do is we're just going to paint the trim of the giraffe, and we're going to do the same thing to both giraffes. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing to one, and we'll actually have two done when we're done with the video here. But the edge of these can be quite rough. They're not always that smooth. So if you find that it's really rough and the paint's not going on all that great, go ahead and take like an emery board or a piece of sandpaper on the end of a pencil, and you can get into those little grooves and sand down the edges to make the paint go on a little bit smoother. So once I have the whole outline painted, then I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and work on the second one. Once both of those are done, I'm going to start painting the body with this mineral color Waverly chalk paint. I really like this color. It's like a gray with a tiny hint of like light brown in it. It's really pretty. I thought it matched the rub-on transfers quite well. So I ended up doing 2 coats of paint on the giraffe because I didn't want to see the wood through the paint. So once that was dry, I took the rub-on transfer and I just laid it on top of the leg, and I start applying the transfers. Now these are real easy to use. You just rub them with a craft stick or pretty much anything you have, and then you will see it kind of discolor a little bit. That's how you know that the picture is transferring onto the wood below. So I trimmed down the paper a little bit and I finished working on it. This was actually easier by trimming the paper down. Now it's okay if the transfer hangs over the sides of the part you're working on, because it will actually peel away from the edges there. And then I just used my finger to lightly wrap the little bit of transfer around the edge of the legs there. So then I cut a smaller piece to fit between the legs there. Also, I just keep taking the little pieces that didn't transfer that were kind of on the edge there, and I just add those into some of the blank spots, and then you could put other flowers over top. But just keep cutting your transfer paper down to size and just use small strips and keep working around the giraffe, and you can fill in some of the spots that look sparse until you have it the way you like it. And you'll do both sides of both giraffes. Now we'll paint these little tower blocks. These will be the support for our shelf. So I decided to go ahead and paint those mineral because they will blend into the body quite well. We won't be able to see them once the whole thing is put together. So while those are drying, we're going to take that gel stain and we're going to just put a little bit on this wood plank sign. I took the holder out of the top. I didn't even fill the holes. I just left them as is because they were pretty tiny. And then I stained the shelf on both sides. Once that's dry, we're going to glue these 2 tower blocks onto the sides of the giraffe. Now make sure you have them facing opposite directions. Then I took a ruler and I actually laid it down and drew a line so I knew where to put these blocks at, so they were at the same height and in the same spot, because you want them to be exactly in the same spot so your shelf will lay flat. So just be mindful of that and really make sure that you have them facing opposite directions when you glue these on. So when you stand them up, they'll be facing the correct direction to put the shelf on. Okay, so I haven't glued the shelf on yet, but I wanted you guys to see a close-up, see how the shelf is not sitting on the legs. That's because the back leg is a little bit lower than the front leg, and it would cause the shelf to tip backwards. That's why we're using the tower block. So I have those set on both sides and I have it centered. Then I just took a white piece of chalk and I drew a line from the shelf to the leg. So once I put the glue on, I can line up those little lines that I drew to make sure I get the shelf on in the right spot, and I have it nice and even without one side a little too far back than the other. So Just apply some hot glue to those tower blocks to the top and then replace your shelf. Make sure you line up those lines. And then push down to make sure that it seals really well. Now, of course, the shelf isn't meant to hold anything really heavy in the middle, but you can actually put quite a bit of things on the shelf. Now I'm going to take the rest of those transfers that I had and I cut them apart. And then I ended up making like kind of like a frame border around this wood plank here. And I just rubbed them on all the way around the outside. If you wanted to, you could actually add a name or a word or something in the middle of this and it would look really cute. So I thought it made a really cute shelf. I've been wanting to make this shelf. Of course, you'll want to seal it with Mod Podge when you're all done. And then if you want to, you can make some bows. I just did a double bow here with 2 different colors of ribbon. I just tied it into a bow. And then I am just going to glue this over in the corner. So it kind of looks like it's on the giraffe's neck and kind of leaning onto the shelf. So it's just an added feature. You don't have to do that part, but of course it was just a suggestion. So here's what it looks like all done. And I just love it. I've been wanting to make this shelf, like I said, for quite a while. I've had the idea and I've been looking for the second giraffe. I only had one and I finally found one this week. I was so excited because I really wanted to put this together for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy seeing the shelf and how we put it together. Now, of course, if you put anything really heavy in the middle, it'll probably warp. So you don't want to do that. But I do have this like glass figurine that says Blessed from Dollar Tree and it holds it quite well, especially on the sides. The candle was fine. It didn't look like it was warping or bending at all in the middle. So, you know, just be careful what you put right in the center. You don't want it to be too heavy because you don't want it to sag. So now for number 2, it's going to be the review video. So Dollar Tree put out these pegboard systems. I wanted you guys to see what all was available and just give you my thoughts on what, how I think they are and like if I think they're worth the money. So you can get this large square. You can get them in white or black. They also have them in rectangles. You get 1 piece for $1.25, or you can get these squares and you'll get 2 in a package for $1.25. Now the rectangles have these large rectangular shells. So the holes line up perfectly to those little brackets there. The small squares also have a flat shelf, or you can get this shelf with the sides. They also have these cups in white and black. And there's just an example of how they could go on. And then they have a bunch of different pegboard hooks. So there's 6 in each pack. The really small ones have 8. So I found 3 different sets of these plastic hooks. There's the large, the medium, and then the small. They also had this 3-piece hook set. Now that will fit on the large board. And then of course they have them all in black. So I wanted to show you guys. I'm not going to show all of them in the black, but you know, you guys get the idea. They have these 2-piece of these metal hooks or the round ring hooks. You get 2 different sizes. They also have some wall organizers. Those you actually have to hang up with the screws. And then these are the adhesive tabs that will help you put these on the wall. Okay, so for the assembly, I'm going to show you guys how to put these together. So I'm going to start with these large squares. So I want you guys to notice on the sides, there's these little cutouts. One is a tab that kind of sticks up and the other one's kind of indented. That is so you can line these up on the wall and get them nice and straight. So as you can see, there's these 2 pieces. You want to make sure you're putting them up so that they will kind of sit within each other. And that way you'll have them as close together as possible and help to keep them nice and straight. So we're going to start with these adhesive rings. And they come with these little squares here. They're really easy to put in. You just want to line up the circle and then pop them down. You'll hear it click, and that's how you know they're in. You can remove them. It's a little hard to pop them off, but it's not impossible. You can get them off quite easily if you try. So once you have the 4 pieces in, then you're going to take those adhesive squares that it came with. There's gel on both sides. You remove the 1 sticky tab, attach it to the back, and leave the sticky paper, the paper covering the sticky part until you're ready to put it on the wall. So I've actually figured out my configuration on the table before I put these on the wall. So I knew which order to put these up in so that those little tabs would sit together. And once I figured out where I wanted it, I made sure it was level with a piece of tape on the wall. And then I just stick these to the wall. And as you can see, my wall is raised a little bit. I've got some decorative flowers on the wall. So I was a little bit worried about how this was going to stick, which is why I'm doing this review for you guys. So I did clean the wall off first with some rubbing alcohol to make sure it wasn't super sticky. Once I get the squares on, I just go ahead and put the shelves on. You can see they go in quite easily. And then I fill it up with all of the things I want it to hold. And then after 5 days, it actually held pretty well, but then 2 pieces started to pull away from the wall. So I got some more pieces and I wanted to show you guys what I did with it. So it's a little bit different. You can put some extra support. So as you can see, I've got the gel tab on and I didn't pull the backing off, but I did remove the corner just a little bit. And then I pop it in, but not all the way. So I've got it raised up above that little edge there. And that way I can remove that sticky paper. And then I'm going to stick it to the wall very lightly. And that way I can just give it a little wiggle and I can pop the square off. And now my hooks are on the wall right where I need them to be, but I can add something to the adhesive pieces to help hold them up. So I'm just taking these thumbtacks, the clear thumbtacks from Dollar Tree, and I am pushing them through the wall right in the center of the holes for the screws. And I've gone 2 weeks now and these have not budged at all. So it was perfect. The gel helps hold the tabs in, or the push pins in, and then it helps hold it to the wall. And it's just an added extra support, and they're not too long to put the square back on. It pops right back in. So I have it nice and lined up there. Once the push pins are in, I just pop it together. I hear the click and I know that it's in the wall here or on those hooks where it's supposed to be. So that's just a tip on how to add some extra support and to make sure that you can get them on the wall lined up and you're not trying to figure out where all these holes are at. It just was a lot easier process this way. So then I replaced everything and you can see I've got quite a bit of things on there and it's not a flat wall. So those push pins really helped a lot. And like I said, it's been 2 weeks now and they have not budged. I hope that helps you guys decide if you would like to purchase those or not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And here are some other videos from our channel you might also enjoy. Have a great night, everyone.